Okay.
And so for any man to even think about having a wife or children to love, they must first have that relationship with God.
Yes.
Maintain communion with God so that God can teach and talk to us and bring us to a place of wholeness, so that
Right.
we'll have a deep appreciation for the
Okay.
things of God.
Okay.
Once we find our mates, we'll carry that deep appreciation over into our wives and our children. We'll nurture and we'll
Right.
love them, and we'll have understanding and peace
Right.
and forgiveness. We will not be overbearing
Right.
upon them, because you realize that they are a gift from God. Our wives and children
That's
are simply
good.
a gift from God.
That's good.
And so we want to receive it and treat it as if it's something precious to God.
Right.
It was so precious to God that he thought that he would give it to us to keep for him,
Right.
to take care of
That's
for
good.
him.
That's
Just
good.
like the responsibilities of Adam in the garden was to dress and keep the garden,
Mhm.
everything that God brings to man is for him to keep it and take care of it and nurture it, cause it to prosper, cause it to grow, cause it to find wholeness in its own existence. And
Right.
our marriage relationships, that's the way we need to look at it.
Right.
Is that men, we're stewards over our wives and our children, and but before must first maintain the right relationship with God.
Right. That's
And so
good.
every marriage, every happy marriage, will start with a relationship with God.
Happy marriage.
So there's a difference between a marriage and a happy marriage.
Happy marriage.
Because there may be some people listening now, they may be unhappily married. But I just say again, you don't have to stay there. This course we have in our seminary called Marriage at Home, which is something that these courses are all available online.
Okay.
And we have been offering them tuition free to people all around the world for the last 2 or 3 years. We have just recently changed the tuition schedule for that. But as an outreach to Noonan, to those who are in Noonan, who may have heard through this broadcast about the courses,
Okay.
we're going to offer those courses online tuition free
Okay,
to whoever
that's good.
contacts us anywhere from the listening audience.
That's
We'll make
good.
those courses. There are 18 courses in that program. We issue a diploma in Christian theology for those who complete all 18 of those courses successfully.
Okay.
And it deals with a range of issues dealing with your spiritual life, ethics, the Bible, theology, church. So it deals with a lot of different areas. But this one particular course I find will be very helpful for couples considering marriage and those who are already married.
Okay.
All right, and also deals with issues of parenting
Okay.
and the duties and responsibilities of husbands and wives. Because sometimes we have false expectations from people that we marry, and so when they don't live up to our expectations, we face disappointment.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
disappointment turns to despair,
Right.
and
Right.
despair usually turns to divorce. So we want to reverse that cycle.
That's true.
From
That's
divorce,
good.
we work back to things that's causing despair in your life, and go past that, find out what caused disappointment in your life, and then try to deal with those issues. You may have to sit down and talk with your husband or wife. Maybe they don't know that you expect something other
Right.
of them.
Right.
You can't just assume that people know what you want
Right.
or what you're thinking.
Right.
That's why
true.
communication is so very important.
Yes.
And by
Yes.
communication, men particularly, communication doesn't mean sit and listen to me, do what I say do. I told you what to do. That's not communicating, because
No.
communication is a two-way street.
Right.
You
yes.
must create an environment where your wife, your girlfriend, your children, they feel like, you know what, they would be listened to if they came to you.
Right.
A lot of reasons why men's wives don't talk, their children don't talk, particularly to their dads. They talk to moms more readily because most moms listen.
Right.
But most dads are kind of, stern, and we have to be stern. There's a time for that.
Right.
But there's also a time for nurture and understanding and support of our children. So we must create an environment where people feel like, hey, you know what? I can talk to my husband without him lecturing or fussing at me. Women may feel that way. Children don't want to be lectured to. They've been in school all day, all week. The teacher has already been lecturing them all week.
Right.
So when they come home, they're not looking for that setting. They're looking for an atmosphere of grace where my dad was available to me. He can talk. He can listen to me. And I can feel like my voice is being heard.
Right.
And wives, same way. So I always start with the husbands because
Okay.
everything starts there.
Yes.
The man sets
Yes.
the tone for the entire family, for the
Yes.
entire relationship.
Yes.
We find even in churches, most churches are, for the most part, predominantly women and children.
Right.
Predominantly women and children.
Right.
Even if the women are married, oftentimes their husbands do not participate in church services with them.
That's true. That's
And so
true.
we want
That's
to
true.
change that. So what type of example is he setting for his young sons who are going to church with mother?
Right.
What kind of example is he setting for his young daughter who is going? So why would she expect her husband, once she grows up to get married, why would she expect her husband should come to worship with her?
That's true.
Why would his young son expect that I should go to worship with my wife and my children?
Right.
So we have to just realize that our relationship with our wives and children hinge on our relationship with God. And until we get that right communion and fellowship with God, because the things that we can't share with our wives, God already knows about us.
Yes.
So we have to unleash ourselves to allow ourselves to be loving, caring, and nurturing. But most men don't have a problem being tough and stern, but the problem comes in when the nurturing side needs to be developed in most men. And I had to learn these things myself, because everything that I now do right, I've done wrong before.
Okay.
I've been the wrong type of husband. I've been the wrong type of father.
Okay.
I've been the wrong type of friend. So the fact that I've done it wrong before, the thing about when you do things wrong, you have to learn the lessons.
Yes.
Learn the lessons that you need to learn from those mistakes,
Right.
and then do it right the next time.
Right.
So finally we get it. And I pray right now for some families who are struggling, maybe some marriages that seem to be on the rocks,
Right.
some
That's
wife
true.
and or a husband who seems so frustrated with their spouse today.
Right.
Some men who are doubting whether they want to deal with the responsibility of being married and raising these children. Some fathers considering leaving the family, going off because he don't want to deal with it. Well, I just say, I just pray to take a moment right now just to stop and think and say, you know, there's nothing too hard for God.
Yes.
And perhaps, you know, I've been trying to do this my own way. I've been striving, and I try to love my wife the best I can. I buy her stuff. I take her on trips, and we do stuff, but nothing seems to be making her happy. You know, what she really wants is just your time.
That's it. That's number one.
That's what she wants. It's just some time spent with you.
Yes.
And that's all your children want, is some time. Yeah, the Nintendo games, that's fun. Going out bowling and going out to eat, that's great. But they want some individual one-on-one time. Just if you're sitting out on the front porch, just looking at butterflies or looking at the clouds. Just take, those are memories that children have that'll last a lifetime for them.
Yes.
They'll forget all about the computer game you bought them when they were 8 or 9 once they get older.
Right.
The wife will forget about the tennis bracelet and the diamond earrings. Maybe she won't forget about it, since diamonds are forever. But praise God. But what I'm saying is that it's those things that don't cost you anything that's most valuable to your family.
Yes.
That time that you spend with them.
Quality time.
Time is the most valuable thing that we have.
Right.
Because it's the only thing we can't buy more of.
Right.
We can buy more food. We can buy more clothes. We can buy a new car, a new home, but we can't buy more time.
No.
So what we need to do is be good stewards of how we spend. I always look at time as something that I spend. I'm actually giving it away, and I can never get it back again.
Right.
So I pray that each marriage, each man, each wife, each son or daughter who may be listening would just take some time with God first, and then learn how to spend that time with one another. Go ahead. You have something you want to share about that, Pastor?
And just basically, I was just thinking as you were talking, when, you know, sometimes fathers are in the home, but they're not in the home.
Absolutely.
You know, and I think that the problem with a lot of our children are if they don't find the love from their father, then they go looking for it in every other place. Because the man always actually appoints the children to really who they are, their destiny. You know, and that's what's so important. Sometimes, now my father was in the home. He gave us everything. We didn't want for anything. But when he came home, he was tired, and me being I was daddy's girl, and I wanted time with daddy. And then I didn't get what I wanted from him. So